All right, so now that we've added our youth participants to this specific site in CitySpan, we can move on to the third step of the enrollment and attendance tracking process, which is to create a program. If you don't remember how to add youth, or you need a refresher on how to add youth to the database, the links to the videos that describe that process will be in the description box below this video. All right, so we have all of our youth and all of the data that we have on each participant already housed in the database, so they're ready to go. So our next step is to create a program. Creating a program can be done in the Program List tab, which is to the left of your youth participants list. It can also be found once you've accessed the site, so to the left of your site information page. As you can see, once you've accessed the Program List tab, you have the full list of all of the previous programs that you've created in the database in CitySpan. And this list can get pretty long as you continue to use the database over time. And so there's certainly a way to kind of hide irrelevant programs. So if you're really interested in just focusing on the current program, you can certainly hide all of the irrelevant ones, and that can be done using the Set Service Term tool. If you're interested in learning how to use that tool to hide previous year's programs, a link to the video on how to use that tool is in the description box below. A few other notes on just kind of how to interact with this page, what constitutes a program, for example. There are a few recommendations that we have for programs as they're entering or creating new programs in this list. One is to, if you are a 5-week summer program in which students are attending the full 5 weeks, and it's the same set of students the entire 4 or 5 weeks, you should create just a single program that represents that entire schedule. So you can see as an example here, 16-17 test is an entire school year from September to June. So as long as it's kind of the same students across a period of time for that entire time, you definitely just want to create a single program that represents that schedule. Some other recommendations, if you are a program that has multiple sessions of programming, so let's say you have 2 4-week sessions of a summer program, for example, or semester-based school year program, you should definitely create a separate program for each of those sessions to make sure that the enrollment is really only the relevant students for that particular session. So those are really kind of the 2 recommendations we have. There are some programs who, for example, kind of similarly to this list here, are creating different programs for different classes that they're offering at their site. That you can certainly do that, although it's kind of a lot of work, and so we don't really recommend it. But it is an option if that's helpful for you. But definitely, if just the one program for a summer as a whole, or if you have different sessions, to do a program for each of the session. All right, so after that kind of long-winded description of like how to approach this, what is a program, how, what are we entering here, let's go into how to actually add a program to this list. That can be done in the Add Program tab in the upper right here. We'll click on that. And now here you can just, enter the program name that is relevant for your program. So we can say Creating Program Training Part 2. You can also enter the type and subject of your program, select anything that is relevant to you here. Whatever makes the most sense for you to enter into program type and subject, feel free to do so. And then finally, there's an option to mark this program as a drop-in activity. So if you're not expecting students every day, or you're not expecting all of your students, and you identify as a drop-in program, you can certainly check this box here to indicate that for enrollment and attendance purposes. So once this is all kind of filled out to whatever is relevant to you, click Save and Proceed. And that'll bring you to the General Info tab of this particular program. As you can see, there is a table of all the information, starting with all the information that you just entered. You also can see kind of a badging, schedule, staff, and program description section as well. So immediately after creating your program, you should definitely update the schedule of that program. The database, so CitySpan is not going to let you enroll any youth or begin tracking attendance until you have set the schedule. So this is a critical next step to this process. So in order to do that, you can see this schedule row here. Just click the little edit button on the right there. And that'll bring you to an add multiple dates or add single dates option. When you're first creating a program, we recommend accessing the multiple dates section. And this will give you an opportunity to create the whole schedule kind of in one go. So clicking on add multiple dates, we will go to enter the begin date, and then select the end date of the program, whatever the last day of the program is, or the session, depending on what you're creating a program for. And then you can go in and select the relevant start and end times for each of the days of the week that are relevant to your program as well. It can be whatever is relevant to you. And then once you select the Add Multiple Dates button, you will be sent to a list of all the days of the week that happen between the begin and end date of your program, as you can see here. Before moving on to any other steps, we recommend that you delete any irrelevant days. So for example, July 4th is a holiday. I definitely want to delete it because I know that I'm not going to have programming on that day. So what I do is I just check next to July 4th as I did, and I select the delete selected button in the upper right. It'll ask you to confirm the delete just to make sure that there's no attendance records, because once you've deleted a day, you can't get the data that you've entered into it already. So since that's a holiday, I'm going to confirm deleting that day. So now your program schedule is more reflective of what, when you'll actually be holding programming. You can also edit start and end times. So if, for example, on the 3rd, you're not going to 6:30 p.m. because it's the day before a holiday, who knows? You can you can update the end time to make sure it's most reflective of what your program schedule is. All right, so now we've completely updated our schedule, and we can return to the original General Info tab. If, for example, at some point in the program, for some reason you canceled programming for that day, whether it's a snow day or something else has happened, and you have to cancel a day of programming, you can certainly go back in and update the schedule to make sure that that date is no longer included. So again, you just click the edit next to schedule. You select the day that that was canceled, and you do the delete selected process again and confirm that. And then again, your schedule is updated and you're only tracking attendance and enrolling youth for days that are relevant to your program. All right, so with that is the end of the creating a program process. And now we can go on to how to enroll youth. If you have any questions or require any additional resources on how to complete the creating a program step of the enrollment and attendance process, please visit the Insight Center, insight.bostonbeyond.org/cityspan.